Hello, everyone. I'm happy to be here, and I hope you are doing well. So I'd like to start by thanking the more than 125 participants who registered for this webinar about the validation of GxP-relevant systems, that is, critical systems that impact the final product based on AI ML technologies for life science companies, especially those in pharma, biotech, and medical device. Thank you all for investing your time with us and for trusting our work. Well, let me briefly introduce myself. I am the CEO and co-founder of Five Validation. I am an engineer with a specialization in industrial automation, and I have over 23 years of experience in the validation field. Throughout my career, I've specialized not only in automation systems used in production, but also in IT, quality, and the laboratory systems. My personal story is closely connected with Five history. I've been leading the company for the past 17 years. Five was founded in 2008, back in when all validation was still done in paper. So today we have worked with more than 200 clients, both paper-based and digital. Around 100 of them have already migrated partially or completely to digital validation. We currently have almost 3,000 users using our Go5 digital validation platform, which we developed and launched in 2019. We are ISO 9001, ISO 27001 certified, and we've received multiple quality awards. So yes, it has been a long journey and a lot of hard work. Now I'd like to pass the word to Lilian. Lee, please go ahead and introduce yourself. Thank you for accepting my invitation to co-host this webinar.
So, hi, Silvia, thank you for having me. Hello, everyone. I'm Lilian Ribeiro, a chemical engineer and biomedical system technologist with an MBA in Integrated Management System and a specialization in data science and business analytics. I have over a decade of technical experience in validation, working at the intersection of science and technology. So my approach combines technical expertise, management skills, and analytical mindset. So thank you, Sylvia. Thank you, everyone.
Excellent, Lilian. Before we start, I'd like to share a bit about, actually I'd like to share what inspired us to create this webinar. This presentation is not just about transferring technical knowledge on how to validate AI and ML systems. In fact, what's behind all of this is technology, innovation, and a changing mindset. Let me explain. I believe that you watching us right now could become one of the highest paid and recognized validation professionals in your country. Of course, that takes discipline. No one said that starting a new learning journey like this would be easy. We are also still learning, walking the same path. There's a lot to discover. But here's the point. We should try to think like your CEO and your director. Instead of thinking that you work for them, think that you work for yourself. Because the knowledge you build, the progress you drive, and the impact you create in your company, all of this is first your own achievement. If you're responsible for validation or quality in your organization, your leadership, your CEO, your director, or the business owner might still see validation, quality, and compliance as costs. But that's not true. They are business strategies. Every time your company is approved to sell in a new country, but by a new regulatory agency, it's an opportunity to export. Every time your company passes a client audit, it grows, sells more, and it prospers. So quality, compliance, and validation should be part of the business strategy. And we, the professionals in this area, should be the ones to sell this idea to the CEOs. Help your leadership understand this. Once they do, they will sell or they will see you differently. Trust me. When your company prospers, you bring more scope to your area, more responsibility, higher salaries, promotions, challenges, and achievements. Now you might be thinking, well, Sylvia, that sounds great, but you don't understand. I can barely handle that I already have. How can I still find time to implement digital validation or AI or something new? The truth is, it is possible to do more with less. We are living proof of that. For those who don't know, Five Validation has three business areas. We have our digital validation platform, Go5, Five Academy, that we are officially launching today. And we also provide validation services to clients. So we are three in one, both software company and the validation service provider. We use our own Go5 license to perform the validations projects to client that the client is order with us. That means we are always busy with many validation projects each year, thanks to our amazing clients who trust us. The last year, we performed paper-based validation. We performed paper-based validation was in 2018. That year, we completed 40 validations with 27 people. Last year, we completed 106 validations with just nine and a half people. That's a 7 times productivity improvement. Did it happen over time? Of course not. It took years, progressing from 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 to 7 times more efficient. And we are still working to improve even more. So yes, you can do it too. Believe in your potential. It's not only about tool, it's about people and the process as well. You can make your company operate at the highest level of excellence and quality with validated, automated processes that are more reliable than manual, human-dependent ones. Technology and automation lead organizations to the best balance between quality, productivity, and cost efficiency. I hope this talk helps you reflect on your role in your potential. Thank you so much for listening. And before we move on, just a quick note, don't worry. We will be sending you the email with the presentation slides after the webinar. You will also find here in the platform a QA session, question and answers. Please feel free to send your questions during the presentation, and we'll do our best to answer as many as possible. In case it's not possible to answer all questions, we can try to answer it by email or propose a meeting in case we don't understand the questions, something like that. Now let's move on to the technical part. So artificial intelligence has been gaining ground across the life science industry, and for good reason. It's already been used to accelerate process, support clinical decisions, and analyze large volumes of data with efficiency. However, there is one important factor that changes everything when we talk about regulated environments. It's not enough for AI to be innovative or promising. It must be validated. It needs to prove that it's safe, consistent, and compliant with regulatory expectation. And that requires a well-structured validation approach. Let's highlight the key reason why this validation is so critical. Compliance and regulatory standards. AI systems should meet regulatory requirements. This is essential to ensure patient safety, product quality, and data integrity. Accuracy and consistency. Machine learning models learn from data, but do they maintain performance over time? In GxP environment, even small errors can have serious impacts. Validation ensures model remains validation ensures models remain reliable and consistent. Auditability. Everything shall be traceable, from training data to model decisions, including code, configurations, experiments, and results. In case of an audit, you must be able to demonstrate how the model was built and why it produced the specific outcome. Ethical considerations. In medical device, for example, AI may influence clinical decisions. Any bias or data imbalance or disproportion could lead to unsafe results. Validation helps ensure that systems act responsibly. Data privacy and confidentiality. AI systems often handle sensitive data, such as patient information. Validation should ensure compliance with the GDPR, HIPAA, include measures like encryptions and access control. Cybersecurity threats. AI systems are exposed to risks like hacking, data leaks, or unauthorized access. Validation helps confirm that system is secure, protect, and resilient against such threats. Risk mitigation. AI introduces new risks such as bias, inaccurate predictions, or unexpected behavior. Validation allows early identification of these risks and the implementation of preventive and controls measures before issues escalate. Now, let's take a look at the key differences between traditional system validation and AI or machine learning validation. Traditional systems work with fixed logic. That means everything is programmed manually, line by line, and the code will do exactly what was coded. It follows predefined scripts created by developers, and there is no learning process or adaptation. So when we validate a traditional system, our focus is straightforward. We check whether the system meets the fixed acceptance criteria, and it either passes or fails depending on how the code behaves. Once it is validated, it will always behave in the same way, unless we modify the code and revalidate it. Now, with AI and machine learning systems, it's a different story. Here, the system learns from data, it analyzes patterns, improves its predictions, and it can even change its behavior over time. Because of that, the validation approach also needs to change. Instead of fixed acceptance criteria, we now deal with the variable criteria ranges and the thresholds that were defined at the beginning of the project. This allows us to monitor performance and make sure that even as the model adapts, it stays within acceptable limits. So in short, traditional validation is static, while AI machine learning validation is dynamic, focused on ensuring that learning systems remain reliable and compliant throughout their life cycles. Validating intelligent systems also means facing a series of challenges. One of the main challenges is meeting regulatory requirements. The standards are strict, and adapting digital technologies without losing compliance can be a complex process. With the increasing digitalization and data sharing, there is also a growing concern about the protection of sensitive information, both patient data or intellectual property. This calls for cybersecurity measures. Another challenge is the integration of digital tools into existing processes. Ensure that everything operates in a connected way requires planning and investment. Speaking of investment, adopting AI technologies involves costs. It should be seen as a long-term strategic decision, but the short-term budget impact cannot be ignored. And There is also a cultural and organizational transformation involved. People need to adapt their ways of working, new workflows, new systems. It's a transition that requires openness, and sometimes resistance is part of the process. With sensors, IoT, and AI generate massive amounts of data, another challenge arises. How can we handle this volume efficiently? Storing, analyzing, and using these data becomes essential. Another critical bottleneck is the shortage of professionals to work with these technologies. Training and continuous qualification are indispensable. Finally, as AI and automation becomes more present, ethical and legal questions also emerge. How should we deal with the algorithmic bias? Who is responsible for a decision made by an AI system? These questions should be addressed and with clarity and accountability. So let's move into an important topic. What the regulatory authorities are saying about artificial intelligence and how this connects with the system validation. Each region has taken its own path, but the main goal remains the same: to ensure patient safety, systems reliability, and regulatory compliance. Let's look at some examples around the world. In the United States, the FDA has been proactive. They developed specific frameworks for AI-based systems, especially those categorized as software as a medical device, SAMD, meaning software that supports diagnosis or treatment. In 2021, the FDA released the AI/ML-based SAMD action plan, which focuses on ensure that these systems remain safe even if they evolve or are updated over time. Health Canada has also taken steps in this direction, publishing guidance and documents on how to define and classify AI-based software. In Europe, the EMA published their reflection paper discussing the role of AI throughout the medicinal product lifecycle, from development to post-market monitoring. We also have the EU AI Act, the first regulation for artificial intelligence, which establishes rules on safety, ethics, and governance. In the United Kingdom, the MHRA created a role for software and AI as medical device. They've also emphasized the importance of good machine learning practices, GMLP, ensure developers and manufacturers follow quality and compliance principles. Additionally, the UK, the US, and Canada have worked together on this document, Good Machine Learning Practice for Medical Device Development Guiding Principles, which aims to align expectation for the responsible use of AI in medical device development. Authorities around the world recognize that AI is here to stay and that it has the potential to transform the healthcare industry. But they also understand that this technology cannot be implemented without ensuring safety and accountability. Ethics also play a key role. In 2021, the World Health Organization, WTO, released the guide Ethics and Governance of Artificial Intelligence for Health, highlighting principles such as data privacy and fairness, all aimed to ensure that AI is used responsibly and for human benefit. The American Medical Association, AMA, has also emphasized the need to respect patient autonomy, avoid bias, and ensure continuous professional oversight. We also can count on the release of ISPE GAMP AI/ML guides, which brings practical guidance for the life sciences industry. In summary, the message is clear. Artificial intelligence must always align with medical ethics and regulatory integrity. Although there is still no single clear guide on how to validate AI and machine learning, we at Five Validation have mapped all related ISO standard and international guidance, a total of 15 key references, compiled into a AI ML validation guide that we'll talk more about shortly. So, are you enjoying the session so far? I hope you are. We know this topic is still new for many professionals, and that's exactly why we've been creating a lot of complementary content. If you'd like to explore this subject more detail, I invite you to visit our blog. Just go to fivevalidation.com and click on the blog tab. There you'll find free, straightforward articles about artificial intelligence, validation, and other related topics. Feel free to read and share them with your colleagues who are also dealing with the same challenge in their daily work. By the way, the article that inspired this webinar is available there too. It's about how to validate AI systems in GxP applications, especially for life science companies. That article is a step-by-step guide for validating artificial intelligence and machine learning systems. I recommend take some time to read it because it goes deeper, it's long, into the technical aspects we've been discussing today. You can access it using the QR code on the screen or through the link on this slide. And don't worry, we also receive the full presentation and all webinar materials afterward. Another great way we've found to share knowledge is through our YouTube channel. It always started when we realized that not everyone has the time to read long documents or technical articles. So we thought that if we transform all the information into short, engaged videos using digital language and easy to watch during a coffee break, for example. And that's how our channel was born. We are always testing new formats using animations, practical tips, and real life examples to make learning about validation and digital transformation more dynamic and enjoyable. So if you haven't visited yet, take a look. If you like what you see, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. That will be that way we'll always be updated with our latest videos. And if you find the video that helps you, share it with a colleague. It helps us a lot to reach more people and spread this knowledge across the life science community. And speak of new things, Five has an innovative project. During our conversations with professionals from industry, one topic kept coming up again and again, and that is where the idea was born. Many of the people who follow my work were asking for something more direct, more practical, and tailored to their own team's daily challenge. So based on these exchanges, we decided to create something new. Several companies reached out to us with specific questions like how to apply AI and machine learning validation in their own reality, their own projects, using their own tools. So that's how we came up with our new format, a custom lecture designed to bring this knowledge to your company in a practical, focused, and a context-driven way. It's like an extension of this webinar, but tailored to your team's challenge and a stage of digital transformation. You can find all the details on this slide. Just visit our website, fivevalidation.com, click on products, and then in AI ML custom lecture. Then you can click on schedule a meeting button, and we will set up a time to understand where your company is, and it's AI in a digital validation journey. From there, we prepare a personalized lecture proposal that fits to your team needs and goals. So it's worth checking out. And now I'm excited to officially announce something special, the launch of 5 Academy. This is our new on-demand learning platform designed especially for CSV and digital validation professionals who work in the life science industry. Over the years, we've noticed a growing demand from professionals and companies who want to strengthen their team's validation knowledge, but don't always have the time to join live sessions or an in-person training. That's why we created 5 Academy to make this content available anytime, anywhere. Our first course is called Modern Computer System Validation Life Science, GAMP 5 Second Edition, FDA CSA, and AI/ML integration. And it's a complete online program that combines regulatory knowledge, digital validation concepts, and the latest AI/ML applications. It is more than 17 hours of content divided into over 100 lessons, available 24/7 for 1 full year. So you and your team can learn at your own pace and apply this knowledge to your validation projects. The course was designed for validation specialists, QA professionals, IT experts, data scientists, and project managers who want to understand how to align modern validation practices with the regulatory expectations like FDA, CSA, and GAMP 5 Second Edition. You can access everything through the link on the slide or by scanning the QR code. We're proud of this launch. It represents another step in our mission to simplify validation and help life science industry involve in digital area. Now, I'll hand it over to my colleague, Lilian. Lilian, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Sylvia. Well, when implementing AI system in a regulated industry, one of the most fundamental aspects is transparency. During the validation process, it's essential to provide clear information about how the AI system operates, including their training methods, the data used, and the decision-making criteria that influence their outputs. This level of clarity helps build trust in the use of these systems and provides confidence to regulated companies in how to present them during audits. When we think about implementing an AI system in a regulated environment, we should adopt a holistic approach to translate this product for its intended use. In the validation context, this is also why we refer to AI as a product or system rather than simply a module. In fact, the AI module is just one component within the product's lifecycle, and all components need to be understood and assessed before implementation. A practical approach is to use the validation plan to explain the overall system and process view, covering the methodology, system autonomy, metrics and performance, roles and responsibilities, and how change control will be managed. Throughout the validation cycle, this framework provides the critical thinking and evidence that risks have been mitigated, and the system is robust and reliable. When addressing a problem, several types of modules can be applied. Choosing between a complex or a simpler module is crucial and should be guided by multiple factors, including the need to understand the module's decisions and the specific context of the application. Interpretability refers to how easily a module's decisions can be understood by humans. Accuracy measures how well the module predicts results. So in this graph, we observe two main axes, accuracy and interpretability. Complex modules tend to offer higher accuracy, but can be harder to interpret. In GxP applications where decisions can directly impact health and safety, it's essential that stakeholders understand how and why certain decisions were made. Interpretable modules support decision, justification, and regulatory compliance. Complex modules are often necessary in situations where the relationship between variables is non-linear, or when there are many interactions and complex features. When evaluating machine learning modules, it's essential to apply critical thinking. This involves not only analyze the module's accuracy and performance, but also considering whether the module's complexity is justifiable in relation to the benefits it provides. Bias in AI refers to errors that can arise in modules due to biased data or design decisions. Bias involves issues related to both module performance and data fairness. This phenomenon is linked to how modules can reflect or amplify existing prejudices in training data, affecting the fairness and accuracy of outcomes. Bias can occur at virtually any stage of implementation, making it essential to consider these risks and apply techniques that help ensure the reliability of results. So, Silvia, now it's with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Lilian. Okay, so now let's talk about the data management and equality for AI ML modules. Essential for compliance. It ensures the integrity, traceability, and security of data in regulated environments. Classification and control. This means identifying and categorizing the different types of data, such as master data, metadata, and sensitive data, and they apply your rules for access, use, and retention. In other words, define who can view or modify each data set, how it can be used, and how long it shall be stored to meet regulatory and data protection requirements, data flow and quality. It's crucial to map the entire data lifecycle and continuously monitor its consistency and reliability. In traditional validation, we mainly focus on the application's database and only occasionally on data quality, for example, during data migration. But now things have changed. In AI ML systems, the model learns from data. So if the data is not high quality, the model won't perform well, and it won't provide accurate or consistent results. That's different from traditional systems where outcomes depend on code, not the data. Foundation for trustworthy AI. Strong data governance enables the responsible adoption of AI, bringing transparency, reducing risks, and improving decision-making confidence. Since data governance is just as important as having a good model, we are leaving you with an excellent blog post about data quality and governance. You can access it by visiting fivevalidation.com, going to the blog section, and the articles you will find it there. So you can also click the link shown in this slide once you receive the PDF version of the presentation, or simply scan the QR code with your phone to go direct to the post. The AI system lifecycle doesn't actually change much from what we already do today. The deliverables remain practically the same. The difference is that now we are denser because in addition to the application infrastructure, we also need to take care of data quality, model quality, and the model version control, not just application version control like in traditional systems. In the initial validation, it's essential to define the intended use and success criteria, test the model with representative data, and document everything, include the model design, the data handling, and performance metrics. Then comes continuous monitoring, where you track the model's performance and look for signs of drift. Drift occurs when the AI model starts making errors because the data has changed over time. This usually means there is some kind of bias creeping or emerging or that the model needs to be recalibrated. When that happens, you must open a change control, identify the root cause, and revalidate, not starting from scratch, but documenting the changes and retesting what was impacted. And that's exactly where digital in the agile validation makes a big difference. It allows you to integrate all changes directly into the original validation documentation. Many companies still treat changes control as separate mining life cycles detached from the original validation. So when an auditor asks for the validation of a given system, they end up saying something like, this is the original validation, but some of these details may no longer be accurate. Here's the list of all subsequent changes. That's not efficient. You can't show one single up-to-date validation package. In contrast, with Go5, our digital validation platform, everything is connected. Every deliverable can be exported as an updated PDF showing traceability, approval date, the links to each change control. You can even generate reports by specific CM, change management, depending on what the auditor requests. That's what we call audit readiness, being always prepared for an inspection with your entire validation lifecycle consistent and up to date. As I mentioned earlier, the validation lifecycle still remains almost the same. It is digital. So just to recap, our digital validation platform, Go5, includes a library of over 70 pre-built validation templates. Here's how it works. When you start a new validation project, you select the type of system you are validating, for example, a CRM system, and then include their corresponding compliance library. That library already contains all the requirement risks and tests, and you want to select the library compliance that is aligned with the FDA 21 CFR Part 11. Then you select the AI/ML library that has been available for all Go5 clients. Let's imagine you are validating a CRM that includes a customer service module capable of transcribing online or recorded conversations, or perhaps implementing AI functions to analyze the sentiment and tone from customer interactions, innovative use cases like that. In that case, you'd select the library for CRM compliance and machine learning. From there, the platform automatically loads all the relevant requirement risks and test cases, which you can review and select, almost like a checklist to decide what applies to your project. Go5 also includes features like automated traceability matrix generation and easy-to-use test execution interface, which saves a tremendous amount of time. If you ever done manual validation, you'll know the pain. After finishing the test, you still need to format the documentation, organize evidence, fix pages that break a cross-section, cross out blank fields, sign and date every correction, exhausting, right? With Go5, none of that is needed. Once all tests are executed, an AI-powered robot automatically consolidates the entire validation package for you and sends this to your email read in PDF format the moment you confirm it's complete. When you first started studying how to validate AI ML, we realized something was missing. We didn't understand the technologies themselves. AI is very broad. There are generative models that create text, images, or audio. There are predictive models that make forecasts based on data. There are classification models for images, texts, and the other types of data. There are many others, speech recognition, recommendation systems, machine translations, robotics, etc. So we felt we needed a big picture view. To make an analogy with the industrial automation, it's like studying pharmacy and you suddenly have to validate an automation system. And you now need to understand PLC, HMI, and how a sensor signal travels through the automation architecture. It's not easy. To solve this problem, we created a guide that brings together the main AI technologies, how each of them can be used in real life-size scenarios, and a list of more than 15 standards and guidelines related to the topic to support validation work. This guideline is available in our website, so we invite you to access and download it. It's straight to the point and has solid content. We worked for months to organize all this study information, to consolidate everything into this webinar. To sum it up, this 1 hour and a half we are spending together is the start of a great journey because now you have the path. So look at what we are getting for free. A complete blog post on how to validate AI, a blog post on data governance, the possibility of a custom lecture in your company tailored to your current reality, a complete, robust, and very up-to-date CSV training, 5 Academy that includes AI ML classes from the beginning level to advanced one, and finally, a guide that maps AI ML technology to real applications in life science industry. That is it. That's all there. The list of standards and guidelines referred in our essential guide includes the released ISPE GAMP AI guide, which I'd consider the most updated and relevant reference for working with AI-enabled GxP computerized system. So now let's talk about EMA Annex 22, the new guidance addressing artificial intelligence in GxP applications. This annex is complementary to Annex 11 and was released as a draft for public consultation with closed on October 7, 2025. During that consultation period, our team at 5 formed a dedicated working group and submitted our official contribution to the EMA, drawing our experience validating ML systems in regulated environments. In summary, Annex 22 established requirements for AI and machine learning models used in computerized systems within GMP environments, maintaining a key regulatory focus on patient safety, product quality, and data integrity. It is important to know that the current draft applies only to static, deterministic, and non-generative models, meaning that most modern AI systems which are dynamic, probabilistic, or generative do not yet fall under this definition. The Annex aims to define minimal criteria for validation operation and ongoing monitoring for AI ML modules used in critical GxP processes. Overall, Annex 22 represents a step toward integrating AI into regulated environments. And what you see here is a summary of the main reflections and positions we shared during our consultation. The scope is broad. It applies to any computerized system where AI may impact product quality, patient safety, or their integrity. So even if the AI is not controlling a process, if it influences decision makers or data used in a GxP context, it falls under this expectation. The Annex also highlights the importance of a cross-functional collaboration. That means not only QA and IT, but also subject matter experts, data scientists, and external consultants need to be involved throughout the life cycle of the AI models. Documentation is another key part. It's required regardless of whether the AI model is developed internally or provided by a vendor. The same level of traceability, transparency, and validation evidence must be maintained. And finally, all these should follow a risk-based approach aligned with the level of control and documentation to the criticality of the GxP process being supported. This slide summarizes the key points around the validation, explainability, and confidence criteria for AI models under Annex 22. First, the test data should represent the full input space. That means including all relevant subgroups and the rare variations. In practice, this ensures the model performs reliably across different products, patients, sites, or machines, not just an idea or common situations. The idea is simple. Don't validate your model only with perfect data. Test it with everything you might see in a real world. Second, there's test independence. The data used for testing shall be separated from the training or validation sets. Regulators expect proof that model can generalize, that it performs well on new, unseen data, not just on what it has memorized. Then explainability becomes essential. The Annex recommends using interpretability tools such as Shape and Line. There are like heat maps to justify model decisions and help users and auditors understand why a particular output was generated. I left a picture here, and an article can help us understand better what it's about. Another key concept is confidence and the thresholds, meaning we need to define how confident the model is in its predictions and decide how to handle uncertain or undecided results. Finally, change and configuration controls applies as with any GxP systems. All modules must be managed under change management procedures before they are put into operation. Together, these points ensure that AI models in regulated environments remain reliable and compliant throughout their lifecycle. This slide highlights key stakeholder feedback and the industry concerns about the Annex 22 draft. According with some clients we have been talking with about Annex 22, one of the main points raised was the difference between static and dynamic AI models, since that determines that falls under Annex 22. A static model is trained once, validated, and then frozen before use. It doesn't keep learning after deployment. Its parameters stay fixed, so it always gives the same output for the same input, and any change requires revalidation. For example, a binary logistic regression model, which is a simple algorithm that predicts a yes or no outcome, like will the equipment fail based on inputs such as temperature or pressure, is considered a static model. Once trained and approved, it stays the same until it is retrained under change control. Because these models are predictable, Annex 22 applies to static models and considers them suitable for GxP use. A dynamic model, on the other hand, keeps learning automatically after deployment. It updates itself with the new data, meaning outputs can change over time. That makes validation more difficult since the model is no longer identical to that one originally qualified. For that reason, dynamic or continuously learning models are excluded from Annex 22 and should not be used in critical GxP process at this stage. Some proposals, like the one we contributed, uses human-in-the-loop approaches, where humans review each model update, maybe considering the final version. Overall, there is consensus that responsibility shall be shared between vendors and regulated users, and that explainability should be mandatory for all the AI models. This slide summarizes a few practical recommendations on how we can bridge compliance and innovation when working with AI and in a regulated environment. First, we should implement internal AI governance frameworks aligned with the GAMP 5 second edition. That means defining roles, responsibility, risk assessment, and documentation process for AI systems, just as we do for traditional computerized systems. Second, the non-critical AI uses cases. Human-in-the-loop (HITL) approach can be effective. It allows AI to assist users while still keeping human oversight and accountability before any decision is applied. Third, we can adopt digital validation tools, such as integrated lifecycle management platforms, to help maintain the validated state of the AI system more traceable. Fourth, it's essential to foster multidisciplinary education, bridging together expertise from quality assurance and data science teams. Both perspectives are necessary to evaluate AI risks and ensure compliance. And finally, we need to continuously monitor drift and bias, keeping full documentation the risk justification. This ensures that models remain reliable, fair, and aligned with their intended use over time. Altogether, these actions allows us to innovate with the responsibility, maintaining regulatory trust while leverage AI potential. This slide highlights the balance we need to find between regulatory control and innovation. The upcoming Annex 22 represents a major step toward formal AI regulation life science. However, there is also a concern that over-regulation could slow innovation, especially in Europe. Europe's life science industry is already known for being more cautious and slower in digital adoption, and that could widen the gap compared to US and China, where their AI governance is lighter and innovation is moving faster. Some European companies are now waiting for the final Annex 22 before moving ahead with the new AI projects, but that could take a few more years. In this meantime, AI vendors are already releasing GxP-ready tools, but they require domain expertise to manage them properly. Other organizations are choosing a more practical path, using human-in-the-loop, HITL, approaches to balance automation with human oversight, staying compliant while still innovating. Ultimately, the core challenges for regulators and companies alike these finding is the right balance, how to protect the patients and protect quality without slowing technological progress. Europe now stands at these crossroads between strict compliance and the need to remain globally competitive in AI adoption. So now let's move on to the questions. We've received many, so we will try to answer as many as possible. If your question is not addressed today, you'll find here a QR code or link in the material you receive when you can, where you can schedule an exclusive meeting. Will help. We'll be happy to respond and provide further guidance. I'd like to invite Lillian to moderate the Q&A session. Please, Lillian.
Okay, Sylvia. Yeah, we have here a question from Luis. Luis asked, how can we validate systems that can be integrated with some GPT chat style LLM? Sylvia, can you get this first? And great question.
Yes, of course, Lillian. You were right. That's a $1 million question. Well, the key point for us to be able to validate a system that integrates with some GPT chat style, or is the explainability plan for LLM AI API integration. We start with the system description in the validation plan. Here we define the purpose, intended use, and GxP relevance for the LLM component, describing which process steps or decision it supports, for example, document classification or deviation summarization. And we also include the performance metrics. We also classify the input and the output boundaries and identify where human review happens. For instance, if a component processes user questions and it breaks into tokens before sending them to the API, this step can be optimized internally for cost and explainability. The second part is transparency and documentation. We maintain a functional specification that includes the module's purpose, the name, version, release date, training data overview, known limitations, serving as input for the functional risk assessment. All prompt templates and configuration parameters, like temperature, the lower it is, the more deterministic it is. Good for GxP. P, probability distribution, or seed ensures reproducibility. If everything are documented and any change to them is tracked under formal change control. The third block is that integrate in the logging. Every interaction is logged, including timestamp, user ID, input, output, and the metadata. When available, we also capture log probes Log probes are token-level confidence scores that help quantify more certainty. Logs are retained for full life cycle of the system in line with the EU AI Act Article 12, and every output remains traceable to its corresponding input and model version. Next is the explainability mechanism. We make the model's answers easier to check and trace by using structured outputs. For example, results in a fixed format like a JSON file or through function calls. We also include a short explanation field that tells user why the model gave that answer. When needed, we add an extra tools like simple rules or example or visuals to help show how confident the model was in its decision. Risk-based human oversight is another topic. We define a threshold for confidence. High confidence can trigger automatic actions or logs. Low or ambiguous confidence requires human-in-the-loop review. Clear procedures exist to override model outputs, document the rationale, and periodically assess false positives and negatives. Verification and validation. We test non-representative and derived data subsets, ensure independence between training, validation, and test data, confirm repeatability, and maintain traceability through audit trails. Supplier and compliance controls. We include OpenAI as a qualified supplier under ISO 20001 and ISO 27001, reference frameworks such as SOC 2, Type 2, manage ongoing risks following ISO IEC 42001, the AI management system standard. And after we have continuous monitoring, we track any drift in performance and or output quality, re-evaluate prompts or thresholds after mod updates, and capture CAPA records for anomalies and unexpected results. Then we address an important concept. LLM APIs don't continuously retrain. When you connect to the API like OpenAI or Anthropic, you are using a static deployed model version. For example, GPT-4 Turbo 2024-49. That stays fixed until the provider explicitly releases a new version. From a validation perspective, this means it is not a self-learning model. It doesn't train on data in real time, but also can't modify its internal logic or weights. You can, however, freeze your integration to a version by specifying the model version ID, for instance, model GPT-4 Turbo X. You lock your system to that version until you decide to change it. If OpenAI later publishes GPT-4 Turbo 2025-210, your integration remains on the April 2024 model until you update and revalidate. To ensure GxP compliance, you document the fixed model version and the configuration parameters, change control procedures for any updates, supplier statement confirming that the model's weights are frozen, meaning it does not update or learn from new data, and that it operates in inference-only mode, used solely to generate outputs without retraining itself. A risk assessment to verify no continuous learning from user data. Longer answer, right? But let me try to do all the life cycle. Continuous training model, which automatically update as they process new data, are explicitly excluded from Annex 22 and should not be used in critical GMP applications in Europe. In short, you can safely connect it to LLM API and freeze its version, and it's not self-learned. You just need to lock the model ID, document it properly, and manage any updates under formal change control and the revalidation. Lillian, that was a long answer, but I hope it helps companies connect their applications to LLMs as effectively as possible. Next one, please.
Okay, thank you, Sylvia. This is from Kelly. Requirements for the use of AI in official translations. I can help with this one. So when we talk about using AI for official or regulated translations, such as technical documents, submissions, or contracts, there are a few key requirements we must respect. First, there should always be human oversight. Even if we use AI to support the translations, a qualified reviewer needs to verify accuracy, terminology, and context, specifically because legal or regulatory meaning can change with just one word. Second, we need transparency. Under the AI Act, whenever AI is involved in producing content, that could be considered official. So it's important to make it clear that the AI tools were used unless a full human review was performed and approved. We must protect confidential information. So uploading regulated or personal data into public translations tools can expose organizations to compliance risks. So we should use secure and validated environments. And finally, the process itself should follow a risk-based approach, meaning that for high criticality documents like regulatory filings or GMP procedures, the human validation should be stricter than for internal communications. So in short, AI can be used in official translations, but always under human supervision. With transparency, data protection, and documented quality control. That's what keeps the process compliant. Well, I'll check here another question. From Marcelo. How can we develop IQ and OQ test script that challenges the proposed functional requirements of the system? Can you get this one, Sylvia?
Yeah, sure. Actually, I'm not sure if Marcelo is addressing AI or no AI, but let's try. The main idea is that your IQ and OQ test script should not just confirm that the system works, they should challenge whether it works as intended according to your functional requirements specification or user requirements. The process starts with traceability. Each requirement should be linked to at least one test step that verifies its correct implementation. In practice, that means create and traceability, matrix mapping, requirements, risk scenario, test case, expected results. Then design your OQ scripts to include both positive and negative tests. Positive tests confirm the system's behaviors under expected conditions, while negative tests ensure it handles invalid or out of the range inputs without corrupting data or producing uncontrolled results. For AI components, you add an extra layer, test representative cases. That means use diverse data sets and verify that the model's output remain consistent, explainable, and within defined confidence thresholds. If the model includes a human-in-the-loop process, test how the human interaction is logged and controlled. Finally, all test results, including failed steps, should be documented. That's what transforms testing from a simple execution checklist into a qualification evidence. So in short, build test scripts that trace back to each requirement and the risks, including positive and negative challenges, and for AI also validate consistency, bias control, and explainability.
Okay. Thank you, Sylvia. I have here one from Amanda. As AI modules grow or drift over time, how can we determine if it's still within a validated state? I can get this one. So that's one of the most important questions when it comes to AI in regulated environments. In regulated environments, AI modules are not allowed to grow or retrain automatically after validation. And once a module is approved, it shall be frozen in inference only, meaning its behavior remains fixed and predictable. However, we still need to monitor its performance over time. So even if the module itself doesn't change, the data or process, the process context around it can drift. So for example, new products, new equipment, or new data source, these might cause the same module to behave differently. To ensure it remains within a validated state, we define the baseline performance, the performance criteria during the validation, like accuracy, confidence thresholds, or classification consistency. Perform periodic monitoring using representative data to check that performance is still within those limits. And if deviations appear, we trigger change control, assess impact, possibly retrain the module and or revalidate it before deployment. So in short, even though the module itself stays frozen, we maintain continuous verification. So if performance drifts beyond predefined acceptance criteria, the module is considered out of its validated state. And that's when the formal revalidation is required. Okay, so I'll go to another question now. Next one from Siva Kumar. He has a need to get understand of FDA expectations. So Sylvia, can you get this one, please?
Yeah, sure. Right now, the FDA expectations around AI systems are guided mainly to documents. That one relate to Basic Software as a Medical Device Action Plan, the 2021, and that one GMLP, Code Machine Learning Practice Principles, published jointly with the Health Canada and the MHRA, also 2021. These documents don't yet impose and bind mandatory regulations. They outline the FDA guiding principles. In summary, the agency expects that developers and regulated users ensure data quality and representativeness. Modules should be trained and tested on the data that reflects the intended population and the use case. Performance monitoring, continuous and periodic evaluation to confirm the model's performance as intended, transparency and documentation, clear records of the model's purpose, data sources, and known limitations, human oversight, the AI must support, not replace, qualified human judgment. And beyond those AI-specific points, the FDA still applies the same foundational expectation from 21 CFR Part 11 and the Computer Software Assurance CSA framework, validation for intended use, traceability, and the risk-based test. So in short, today the FDA focus is in good data practices, transparency, human oversight, and documented the control of changes, not yet on the new AI-specific regulations. In simple terms, FDA doesn't prohibit AI, it just expects it to be predictable, documented, and under life cycle control, just like any other GxP system. So if you can show that your AI system is frozen, traceable, risk assessed, and explainable, you are right aligned with the FDA expectations.
Okay, thank you, Sylvia. We have here a question from Bernadette. Will this webinar be recorded so I can watch this again? Of course, the session was recorded and will be available on our website as soon as it's published, and we'll notify you by email. So, yeah. And we have a comment from Mikkel. I found your CSV course. So this attendance is mostly to verify the authenticity and creditability of 5 before purchase. Can you take this one, Sylvia?
Yes, absolutely. We understand and appreciate that you want to verify the authenticity and the credibility of 5 before moving forward. 5 Validation is a certified provider specializing in digital validation for life science with the global clients across pharma, biotech, and medical devices. All our courses, including the CSV one, are based on recognized regulatory frameworks such as GAMP 5 Second Edition and the FDA CSA. You are welcome to explore more about us in our website and LinkedIn page, and we are happy to provide the reference and additional details if needed.
Okay, Sylvia, thank you. This one is from Prita. Will this section cover GenAI enabled application? I can take this one. In this session, we are not going deep into generative AI applications specifically, but many of the concepts we are discussing, such as explainability, risk assessment, and maintaining validated states, also apply to GenAI-enabled system. Generative AI brings additional challenges like unpredictable outputs and the need to human oversight, which are part of the upcoming Annex 22 discussions and future regulatory guidance. So while we are focusing mainly on AI system used for decision support and automation today, the same validation principles can later be extended to GenAI use cases as regulators provide their clearly frameworks. Okay. Let me check here, see if we have another question. We have here one from Fernando Pedeconi. How can we measure or even detect drift in an AI system? I'll take this one. To detect drift in the AI system, we usually monitor its performance over time, like checking checking accuracy or other metrics. If other metrics are decreasing, we also compare new data to past data to see if their patterns have changed. There are automatic methods that can be used to alert us when this happens. Basically, we look for changes in data or drops in how well the module is performing. Okay, so thank you for your question. I'll check here. We have, actually we answered all the main questions. So we've run out of time. So for those who have additional questions or that weren't answered, you can schedule a meeting with us to have a one-on-one conversation and receive a proper attention. So Sylvia, could you close the session, please?
Yes, of course. I'd like to thank my team for the excellent work. There are many people involved. I want to thank you, Lillian, for being here with me, and also everyone behind the scenes, Amanda and Gabi. Thank you all for joining us. Thanks a lot. Bye. See you next time.
Bye.